Hey everyone, it's Michelle with the Stamp Doctor, and I'm here to show you today how to use your sidestep layers that were intended for the sidestep card, but you can use them with these really cool little snowmen. It's from the Tropical Sketches that you can find on my website as a free download. And speaking of websites, here's my information. I am the Stamp Doctor. Michelle Monet is me, and then thestampdoctor.com. Facebook / The Stamp Doctor, YouTube The Stamp Doctor. This is my cell number. You can text me if you have quick questions or need a link to a product you can't find. My searching on my site is being annoying, but you can also give me a phone call as well at that number. But text is welcome. And so these are papers and ephemera out of the Snowmen Melt My Heart collection. And I just did some really quick, simple cards using the sidestep layers. So we have the reds, red oranges, we have the pink purples, and we have the greens, and 3 different snowmen. Lots of variations of them to make treats and whatnot. What I used were the sidestep layers. Again, Tropical Sketches, I'll link to that in the comments. It's a free download. It's a 6x6 scrapbook page, standard card, and a sidestep card done with the sidestep card die and layers. So I will just jump in here and I'll show you a variation at the end. I apologize if I have to clear my throat. I seem to have a frog. So I have all of my pieces parts here. Now these are all the layers already cut, already layered, and I just have adhesive on them. I have a leftover label sheet. I just prepped that so that the video would go quicker. Here is my A2 card base, which is a half sheet of cardstock folded in half. I like tall sometimes so that they just, horizontal so that they just stand up. Here's my foam piece. And then here is a piece that I wanted to show you how I get the additional layers. And I'm going to sit down here so that I can be a little bit more coordinated and show you how to use those perfect layers rulers. So back when we made the dies, the closest you could make them was 1/4 inch apart when I was with spellbinders. Since that time, I've figured out how to make them be closer together so you can have multiple layers. But since they don't do that, one of the greatest inventions, I think, are the perfect layers rulers, is what they used to be called. They're now the We Are layer guides. There's 2 in a package. Each ruler is different. This is the one that I'm using, the 1/16. So I'll just show you how they work. This is what they call the patented catch lip system. From this edge to here, this little catch to here is a 1/16 of an inch, and on this side it is 1/2 of an inch. So the catch lip is here to the edge of the ruler. If you flip it over, you now have a 5/16 down here, because it's always going to be from the bottom over. And then when we rotate it, now we have a 3/16 on that side. So I always say, I'm going to use the 1/16. When you lay it down, you want to be able to read it. If the numbers are backwards, that's the one that's on top. So make sure you're on the correct one there. And what you're going to do, I have my layer cut with my die, and then I have it mounted to my extra red paper here. And I'm going to slide it back so that that catch lip is resting against the edge of the snowflake paper. And then what I'm going to do, I go across my body here, and I'm going to do that twice. You want that paper to come away. I slide this a little bit closer to me here. Alrighty, and if the paper doesn't come away, don't move your ruler hand, cut it again. That way you don't have to realign it. And then I just got to find this edge. I'm working kind of away from myself here, so let me stand up maybe for this. It really doesn't bode well for getting old, because then you have to have your eyeballs right against it. So let me pull it back so my head's not in the camera. There we go. You can kind of still see it. Someday I'm going to set up a fancy video monitor, and I actually didn't cut that side right. I'll show you what I did. This is why you're supposed to be closer. You can see I didn't have my ruler. It's not all the way back, I don't think. At least it doesn't look right from here. So I'll put it back up. Yep, see? What I love about that is that I can trim that extra. I seem to be more out of practice on camera. I need to go demo more in person than what I have been. All right, and there's a video on how to make your own glass mat from a Dollar Tree mat and some super tack. but you just need a glass mat for that and a box knife. But those are the Perfect Layers rulers. I'll link to them also. And then here's my foam square. So I'm just going to use a tape runner here, and I'm going to tape the square to the back. I gotta pick it up. My eye doctor said about 9 inches is my focus length in front of my face. So, but the glasses, they look too weird. I haven't adjusted to those yet. So, all right. So now I have that piece. I have foam tape already on my snowman, but I'm going to go ahead and stick him down before I stick him on. Now, to line up these little layers and get them spaced and even, I have a couple of little tricks that I do. So I have a removable dot tape, easy dots. This is a temporary tack. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run just a little bit. It's getting a little on my mat, but it'll go away. And then I'm going to run it just a little ways down the side. This will all rub off, okay? What I've done is I'm 1/8 of an inch away from the top edge, and you can use a ruler if you have a centering ruler, and I have a couple, but it's another item to try to hold on to. This is just really simple if you don't have it. So what I've done is I've cut about 1/8 of an inch strip of paper. I cut it off at 5.5 inches long, and then I folded it in half, and that's going to give me my center point. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I am going to temporarily tack it to the top edge of my card. And if you didn't get your card base exactly the same length, just kind of like eyeball it and see. I have a tiny bit of white showing there, a tiny bit of white showing there. And you don't want this permanently adhered, just for a second. And then I'm going to start over here with another 1/8 inch that I'm just going to temporarily stick right here. You know what, let's just tear it in half and invert it so that I'm using the cut end. Let's just put it all the way around. Okay, all right, so now we kind of have our measurement guide. Okay, and I can go ahead and get rid of the little dots that I might have a hard time getting to if my piece is already up against there. All right, so now we'll take, I already have the tape. I got to sit down again and focus closer. So I have a little bump right here where the center is, but I'm going to go ahead and put one is bumped over here in the corner. Okay. And I'm not going to squash them. That way, if I do need to move it, I still can before the adhesive makes a super duper contact with the paper. And when I put my adhesive, I like to just trace the edges with my finger. It kind of rolls it to the back. If I got off, it doesn't exceed it. Let me turn it around so I can see here. All right. And that's just temporary, so I can move it down there. So I gotta just be careful aligning it and just hold it barely in place. Now my next piece here. Now my center, I don't have this marked center. And I can see I have little tape edges there. So, but I'm just gonna kind of eyeball what I think center feels like. I'm gonna lay it. It's not stuck down permanent. And now I'm going to take this, and now this is showing that I have more space on one side than the other, so I don't have this completely center. And actually, if you wanted to, I didn't think about it until right now. It's so weird how you can do things and then not really think about it. I know that this has barely any white space. So I can, and I'm just going to slide it. There we go. Let's just go ahead and put these two in first. And eyeballing, I kind of can feel with my finger how far away that is. And this is just a general, you can get way more particular on it if you like. Turn that, and then I'm going to scooch it. And this is where I do like tape over glue sometimes, because you can scooch things. And then I have to turn it around and get my brain to see it the right direction. Okay, so now you can slide that up there, and still off just a skosh, you can tell. So it is a little bit harder, I feel, to get all of these pieces exactly aligned when you don't have a template spelling it out or a die that's spelling it out. So this was just kind of how I would work with it. It's not a perfect formula, but there we go. You can see there are just barely any white spaces the way that these fit. Okay, so now I'll press this down. I didn't grab my brayer. That's a bad kid. I usually do. And then you can take away your strips that you can then reuse for doing more of these cards. Okay, and you wouldn't want to use your brayer yet anyway, duh, because then it would permanently adhere these little strippies. Even though it's temporary tape, it would still try to adhere it. And it looks like I might be a little bit wider than 1/8 of an inch, but if you're sending your card to somebody, it's not like they're going to know it was supposed to be at about 1/8 of an inch. So now I'm using my glue eraser. This comes in a 2x2 square. I cut it down into fourths to make it a little bit easier to hold on to. You can throw one in your to-go container if you to-go craft, and you can put it, you know, have one in the craft room, one in a different junk drawer. I just like them when they're smaller. And I just keep lightly rubbing away the adhesive. You can put the adhesive on that strip, and you could use the sticky dots to do that also. So I do see that I did use the centering ruler on my samples, and I can see that my spacing is a little bit, you can see it's a little bit narrower. So my strip was a little bit over 1/8 of an inch. Okay, get all that off. All right, so now this is where you could stamp a stamp, and I have a stamp in a set that might fit there, but I was trying to kind of be generic with these because some people might want them as winter cards, some people might want them as Christmas cards. You can choose. I'm sure you have a stamp that you can put down in there if you wanted to, and I'll show you something I kind of came up with. So just gonna stand Mr. Snowboy up in there. And on this card I did red on red, but I'll show you what I did on the other one. So now tape runner, and this foam is just presentation foam from the Dollar Tree, and I like it for making my foam dots. So I'm about 1/8 of an inch off the bottom and about 1/8 of an inch or so off this side is where I placed it, but you're welcome to recreate it in any manner that you want. Case it, swap it, swipe it, do whatever you want. Okay, so that quickly though, you still have some glare I see, just from almost all the scraps of my packets from making other things, I was able to create the card from the layers. And what I did on this one is I actually backed it with orange because his nose is orange. So I did the dark red for the big pieces, the lighter red for the smaller pieces, dark red for this, and then I did it with the orange, and it does look different than the red. It gives it a different effect. I am so sorry, the light, it's either too much light or not enough light in here. So the red, the purple, I backed it with red because I don't have any purple paper that I liked with it, and I didn't really want to accent it as a purple card per se. And then here is the green one. Okay, and then I was just going to show you what I did here. I have a Merry Christmas die set that's newer, and this just has temporary tape on it. So what I was thinking I could do was put Mary, need to move that up just a little bit, but put Mary on the outside with silver foil and then put Christmas on the inside. So just a kind of an option if you wanted to have a word down in there or something. Okay, so that is from the Tropical Sketches. Don't always think tropical. It's using the side step card layers as something outside the box, outside of the side step. There is currently a 20% off coupon for everything not on sale on the website, and that is good through November the 7th of 2020. It will auto apply in the shopping cart. The code is Snowmen, but it'll auto apply. And here's where you find me, and thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you enjoy some snowmen. Mostly, hopefully paper ones, not real winter ones. I don't care for them as much. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.